Hey guys, it's Julia. So I went and saw Divergent and it was so good, and I went with some of my friends and I vlogged it. If you haven't seen that vlog, there will be a link to that below. But right now I'm just going to be doing a little discussion on the movie, and it's almost 10:30 at night on the day that I saw it, but I just couldn't wait to make this video because it was so good and I want to do it on the adrenaline. My overall impression of the movie was, it was so good. It was so like accurate to the books, and even the parts that they changed were okay because the parts that they changed worked with the story. It wasn't like they changed it and it totally changed up the rest of the thing. No, it worked with the story, which was like great. Shailene Woodley, I was kind of not seeing her as Triss at the moment for some reason, because the last thing I kind of saw with her was the Fault in Our Stars trailer. She was amazing as Triss, because when I saw her I'm like, that's Triss. And I didn't think of Shailene like the entire movie. I was like, that is Triss, that's not Shailene, that is Triss. So I was really happy with that, and then Theo James was just really amazing as Thor, and he is very beautiful. I loved Christina. I loved her portrayal of Christina. I thought she was funny, she was spunky, yet she was really brave, and I liked how she was short, which, like, I didn't see Christina as super short at first, but now that I've seen her as short, I thought she was great. I thought she really made the role real for me. Like, I really see her as Christina, and I loved her interactions with Triss and all that, and I thought she was a really good choice for that role. I love the music. The music in this whole thing was so good. The music added so much to the movie. It just came in and it was great, and it was at like the right time. There was the right kind of music and all of Ellie Goulding's stuff, and the Run Boy Run was really cool where they put it in, and I really enjoyed having it there, because having good music, I mean, it can kind of make or break it in a way. Like, it's not a huge player in how much you love the movie, but I love the movie so much with the music because it was just so well done. I thought the whole portrayal of factions was really interesting, on how they all, you know, all the different ways they dressed, and the way they were separated at like the choosing ceremony, and the differences between them, like when all of them were like lined up, and then the Dauntless just riding it on their train, and they just tumble onto the grass and they're all laughing and happy and they just go straight into their line. It's really quite interesting to see the contrast between them. I liked the monologue at the beginning because it kind of helped explain what was going on. You need to read the book before you see the movie, and I am a huge advocate for that, but one of the friends that I went with did not read the book ahead of time, so she was kind of a little confused, and I feel like that helped her a little because it kind of described the history of what was going on and all that fun stuff. One thing I loved was after Triss had been, you know, she had picked Dauntless, and then all of the Dauntless initiates were all running down the street, and she starts running with them, and she just starts smiling, and then they all start climbing up onto the like train platform, and she climbs with them, and the music was great there. And then when she's waiting for the train and everyone starts running, and she's just standing there looking at the train, and you can just totally see that's her, like, you know, this is my new life, this is what I'm going to do. And then I totally thought she was going to miss the train. I'm like, you need to, come on Triss, you gotta start running, and she starts running and gets on the train, and it's like, yeah Triss. Like, the fear landscapes and her test were portrayed really cool, because the test, for one thing, I thought was really interesting how they did it with all the mirrors at first, and then they had her tell herself, you know, you need to do this, pick, well, not you need to do this, but you need to pick this, and then she had to do it, and I thought it was really interesting how they did that. And then also, the fear landscapes were really interesting. Like, the crows were actually creepy and weird, and it scared me. And then when she's in the water tank, it was like she was breathing really heavy, and it was scary because the water was getting high, and then she's like, this isn't real, and she taps on the glass and it just breaks, and then she comes out the the fear landscape, and Ford looks at her and he's like, how did you do that? And she's like, do what? Like, it's no big deal. With Ford's fear landscape, one thing that I kind of liked about it was when he took her into his fear landscape, he kind of made it like it wasn't about her going into his fear landscape and helping him through it. It was about him teaching her how to react to things like the Dauntless people, like the straight Dauntless people would. Whereas in the book, she just kind of knows, she's like, oh yeah, well, a Dauntless person would do this and a Dauntless person would do that. But in the movie, it was like, no, this is what a Dauntless person would do. And he was just kept kind of going through it. But he wasn't so emotionally like drawn to it like I pictured him. Like, you know, in the scene where there's the box and he's sitting there and all like the edges are closing in, I thought he would be a lot more like scared and tense and like shivering, I don't know, but he was just kind of like, yeah, you know, anytime would be great now, just waiting on the closing box and stuff like that. Tris and Tobias were absolutely adorable. Like, the entire time when I saw them together, even if it was a super serious scene, I was just grinning from ear to ear because I thought they were adorable. I thought Shailene and Theo had amazing chemistry, and they looked really good together. Like, I really liked how well they like fit together. The scene in the Ferris wheel, when the first time I think they start talking, and she just like looks back up and he's totally just looking at her butt, and you can just look at it and it's so obvious, and it made me laugh. I just thought it was funny. Also with the Ferris wheel scene, I really liked it, and I liked the way they did it, and it was really cool, but it seemed really like cut off, like really fast. It was cut off, and then there wasn't her hanging off of it, and there wasn't him having to like start it and like bring it back down, you know, that stuff. And that part in the book was like, oh my gosh, you know, what's gonna happen? Is she gonna like fall off? Is she gonna blah blah, you know? And in the movie they didn't have that. They just kind of had them at the top of the Ferris wheel, and they didn't really show how they got back down. The zipline scene, oh, it was just magical. It was just, when they were just, she got in and then she was going through the country, not the country, but like the town, and she's just so in awe, and she's going through, and then she goes through all these buildings, and she goes down this thing, and then she goes straight into the wall and like almost hits it, but she just stops right in time, and then everyone's applauding, and it was just so magical, and it was just so happy. That gave me like feels for Allegiant, because in Allegiant things happen with that, and it made me want to cry, because I'm like, oh man. I think that Eric looked like buffed up Macklemore. Like, I actually leaned over to my friend, it's like, is that Macklemore? Is he in this movie? I also loved when she was doing the shooting and she didn't hit it at all, and then the guy, he comes up. Statistically, you probably should have hit one, at least one by now. I forgot when in the like plot line Tris almost get thrown off the thing, like the cliff, and then all of a sudden it started happening and I started having a heart attack. I'm like, no, oh my gosh, because she came so close, and it was horrible. And then she pulled off Al's thing, and then Tobias comes, or for whatever, and he comes and he like rips off them off of her, and he like does this thing, and he bangs the other guy's head into the wall, and he's like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. And it was, that was good. That had me going. In the movie, her mom kind of just snuck in, I guess, and she was like, they had like this really secretive conversation, which I thought was an interesting play on it, but it did work. It did, like, they kept the same things in the conversation and they did in the book. I think it did work having her do that. I was upset when her mom got shot, and of course I was upset when her dad got shot, but personally the most emotional part, like the emotional part, was when Will got shot, because she was just standing there, and then I didn't realize what was happening until I saw, like, oh my gosh, that's Will. And she's standing there and she's holding the gun, because obviously she needs to defend herself, but she's like calling him, she's like, Will, come on, Will. Like, trying to get him to wake up and like get out of his trance, and he's not responding, and you can just see her just like, come on, like, she's so hopeful that he'll just break out of it, and she won't have to do anything, but in her heart she knows that she's gonna have to, you know, shoot him, and she's going to have to defend herself. She's just standing there and she's not moving, and her mom's like, what? And Tris is like, I killed him. And it was so heartbreaking and heart-wrenching when that happened. The simulation part, the serum simulation Janine thing, they kind of explained it, but at the same time they didn't. It was a little iffy. it was kind of hard to catch on to, and unless you'd read the book, and I can see how people who hadn't read the book could find it a little confusing. There were also a lot of things that were left out. It would have been nice to have a little bit of an introduction to Uriah because he was on the board. Obviously, he was on the board and everything, but we never got introduced to him. And it seems like right now there's no significance to him, which obviously there is. No mention of Lynn or Marlene or of Edward getting his eye stabbed, which I kind of can see how they don't want to put that in a movie just because it's kind of gruesome. I loved when Peter's like there, he's like, "You won't shoot me," and Tris goes, "Why does everybody keep saying that?" And then she just shoots him and she's like, "Tell me where it is." And I'm like, "Yeah, Tris, you go, Tris." I thought they did an amazing job at adapting it. It's not as accurate as Catching Fire was. Divergent is very, very close behind because Divergent was very accurate to the book and it was super intense and funny and amazing, and the cinematography was so cool, and the soundtrack like brought so much out in it that it was just exhilarating to watch, and it had me on the edge of my seat even though I knew it was going to happen. And Neil Burr is amazing. Oh my goodness, amazing job, like incredible. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it because it is so incredible. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys very soon. I hope you guys are having an amazing spring break, at least where I am, it's spring break. And yeah, I love you all so much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.